Los invitamos a escuchar La Mesa Redonda, The Round Table, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio. Señores oyentes de USA la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda desde el corazón del barrio hispano, en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero, y desde Virginia, lejos de donde nos puede... ella puede evitar el virus del coronavirus. Nuestra colega, amiga poeta Iris, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, por
¿Sí?
acá estamos muy bien.
Sí.
Un día lindo, pero un poco
Frío.
Sí,
Sí,
un poco frío. Sí.
Oye, anoche hacía un frío tremendo anoche. Yo tuve que salir para atender un evento en el museo es una iglesia, es el Gloria Dei, es una institución sueca. Y sí, es un sitio histórico.
Muy interesante.
Sí, y estaban hablando sobre un tema muy especial, es el asunto de estos edificios históricos que han sufrido una destrucción total o parcial, como por ejemplo la Catedral de Notre Dame en París, la biblioteca en Brasil, el Museo Nacional en Brasil, que quedó totalmente devastado y se perdieron tantos objetos históricos allí. Entonces, el tema era ese, ¿no? Que si vale la pena, es la pregunta retórica, ¿no?
Wow.
¿Vale la pena reconstruir esto? Especialmente en el caso de Notre Dame y el museo en Brasil. Pues la respuesta debe ser sí, ¿no? Es un patrimonio de la humanidad, es nuestra historia. Y
claro.
Hay que apreciar eso.
Claro, ¿no? Que sí.
Sí.
Qué triste, ¿verdad? Como se perdió todo ahí.
Sí,
muy triste.
Sí, y Lucy, acuérdate de un esqueleto que tienen ahí en ese museo.
Sí.
Creo que recuperaron parte del esqueleto de Lucy. Y lo curioso de Lucy, acuérdate, lo curioso de ese esqueleto es que tiene lo han puesto hasta 12,000 años de edad. Así que piensa en lo que eso significa, porque tiene unas características africanas definidas y eso contradice lo que se ha dicho hasta este momento históricamente, cómo llegaron habitantes originales a este país a través del estrecho en el norte, viajando por todas las Américas, lo que son las Américas ahora, hasta que empezaron a ocupar todo el continente americano, norte, central y Suramérica. Así que, pero este origen, si lo ponen en 12,000 años, eso significaría que de algún modo una invasión africana llegó al continente mucho antes de que llegaran los españoles o los suecos, ¿no?
Increíble, ¿verdad? Porque la teoría dice que la Tierra era un solo continente, un solo plano, y el resto era agua. Y luego, después de que la Tierra cambió un poco la inclinación, pues hubo estos terremotos. Encima de eso hubo asteroides bastante grandes que de hecho mataron a los dinosaurios, esto y lo otro. Es muy interesante, y es muy interesante ver cómo mucha gente, no mucha gente, bendito, pero como muchas personas que tienen el conocimiento y han escrito libros de historia han verdaderamente hecho estos bubus y estas mentiritas piadosas, especialmente con lo del maíz. Ponen el maíz y ponen el maíz aquí y allá, cuando verdaderamente no existía en esos lugares. Es muy interesante, muy interesante. Sí, pero cuando uno dice eso, dicen que Fernando está loco.
Oye, ¿quién dijo que yo estoy loco? acuérdate lo del maíz que los europeos que llegaron a nuestro continente usaron el maíz hasta que el siglo XVII, eso quiere decir del 1600 para arriba, usaron el maíz para alimentar a los cerdos, no se lo daban a la gente, no creían que era comida para humanos.
Exacto, exacto.
Pero bueno, eso es otra cosa de la parte de la historia. A mí me encantan ciertos detalles de la historia, como que de repente se descubre que esto o aquello es importante, o que nosotros tenemos algo frente a nuestras narices que acabamos de descubrir, por así decirlo, mientras que estaba ahí
así
siempre.
Es.
Ahora.
El punto es que nadie deja de aprender. Todos seguimos aprendiendo cada segundo que respiramos de vida. Seguimos aprendiendo algo. El cuerpo aprende algo por dentro y nosotros como seres aprendemos algo. ¿No? Pero hay quien cree que no, que acabaste estos estudios y se acabó. Ya eres lo máximo de la sabiduría.
Yeah, I'm not as wise as you are, but I keep learning every day.
I never claimed to be wise.
Well, you're a wise guy.
Never have claimed to be wise.
You're a wise guy. Martin is going to join us, so we're going to take a short break.
Fantastic.
A short break because he finally reappeared.
Fantastic.
Estamos en Usa la Media, la mesa redonda de Round Table. Johan Bermúdez al tablero, les habla Fernando Mendez, Iris Violeta por teléfono y se nos va a unir Martin Pratt. Regresamos en un momento.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Miss Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Regresando a la escuela, sí tenía miedo. No sabía si iba a poder hacerlo. Una de las maestras que está ahí es la señora Araceli. Ella siempre tomaba su tiempo ayudándome a mí. 50% es entrando por la puerta, el otro 50% es haciendo el trabajo. Nunca es muy tarde para obtenerlo.
Encuentra clases gratis para adultos cerca de ti en completatudiploma.org.
Señores oyentes de Usa la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda, desde el corazón del barrio hispano en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Se ha unido a nuestra conversación el señor Martin Pratt.
Sí.
Bienvenido.
Bienvenido.
Y tenemos a nuestra colega, amiga, poeta, periodista y sabia, Iris Violeta.
Iris.
Ay, santo.
It's Friday.
Mucho alabe. Hello.
Hey, this is the only way I can pay you for your services.
Oh, yeah.
By lavishing praise on your genius. You
Fernando.
You are a stable genius.
Yes.
Fernando.
And you can pronounce Indian names.
Do you remember the years in your life way back then?
Way back then. Okay.
Back in the day.
Okay.
Yes, Elias, tell us the secrets.
Then? Okay, Elias, let's not go back then.
Tell us when Fernando's hair was brown or black.
I'm getting closer to your color now.
Ay, tanto.
Getting closer to Okay, so I was updating our listeners on the virus, the state of the coronavirus. So I'm going to repeat it for you, benefit, Martin, because I think you need this information. We don't want you to walk around, and get caught in the coronavirus net. According to the WHO, what is the WHO?
World Health Organization.
Man, you are so smart. According to them, this virus could reach most, if not all, countries. That's a warning from the World Health Organization.
Yeah, everybody goes to Asia.
Well, I haven't been there.
You don't know that.
I went to Australia.
Your flight attendant that you just got off a flight, your flight attendant was there at some point. So you went there via her.
That's true.
Right. We're super interconnected nowadays.
This is like 6 degrees of separation.
It's more like 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
No, I'm scared.
Not only they were there, they ate there. Now, remember that some of the animals that they were using to experiment, they sold it to the market. So that people will, eat them. Isn't that nice?
I honestly, it feels like this is a Bourne prophecy, like the Bourne movies, because what's happened is that this has reset reset the power around the world. Now, everyone that is invested, they're doing what's called corrections. They're taking their money out the stock market, putting it into gold.
Right.
Now the stock market, the balloon that's been, that bubble that was ready to burst is slowly going down.
Right.
And they've, I don't know if it's right or not, but a lot of countries have kicked out Chinese, diplomats, and no one's going to Asian markets. So China was on a roll around the world.
Right.
And this has slowed it down.
Yeah.
I mean, immensely. And they did not believe their own doctor. So it even slowed it down worse.
Right. And he died.
Right. The guy that warned them, they didn't believe. So it's like, I'm like, I don't see anybody that didn't win from this except China and Russia. So I feel like this was, this was the other countries conspiring against China.
You think this was a plot?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Solo is, I think Martin is one of those people who spreads misinformation.
I drive past Langley when I go to D.C.
A lot of misinformation.
I'm sure they have your picture over there.
Uh-oh.
Okay, more information about this. The stock market across the globe.
Oh, wait, I thought we were talking about the virus.
Stock markets across the globe
Yes.
are suffering their worst week since 2008.
Yeah.
Since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that in the U.S.? President
Housing.
Obama,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And what did he do? Housing, yes.
Right.
Banks.
The banks, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and that began the whole
so
upswing.
this is the bringing of Bloomberg.
Yeah, that's right.
It brings in Bloomberg.
Guess who's looking capable and in command right now?
A stable billionaire.
A stable billionaire, as opposed to the other one.
Time Striker.
Excuse me. And he's a stable billionaire who bought Congress.
Oh,
Because
yes.
He said it very clearly.
Yes, exactly.
Very clearly.
Yes, he did.
I bought Congress
Right.
for the Democrats, so they better put me in here.
Somebody has to buy it.
Right, and it was for sale because the Supreme Court, because the GOP installed Supreme Court said, hey, no reason you can't put as much money as you want into any election, just like they said with betting. They said it's perfectly legal to bet on any sports event in the U.S. So on one side, you got all this money, flowing into elections. But on the other side, which nobody's talking about, I predict in 10 years, we're going to be facing an addiction crisis of people who are betting on sports.
Who lose their homes.
Right,
and
exactly. And both things happen at the exact same time.
Another conspiracy.
No, it's a fact.
Well,
the Supreme Court.
Let me tell you that there's a lot of theories. There is a book called The Last Theorian. There's a theory going around that when they were actually working on this virus, And so they were into the other viruses that we had, like SARS,
Yes.
They developed them in a laboratory, and they're working on it, and there's a purpose for that. And the purpose was to alienate everybody else, especially in China. There's overpopulation.
Right.
So what they'll do was they will clean up their population to a good size of people who are very brilliant, people who could read or write. It would be just like Hitler did. And at the same token, they will get everybody out.
You know what's interesting? Who owns the patent to the bird flu virus remedy? You know who owns the patent to that?
No.
The same guy.
Who owns the patent?
The same guy who got the rights from our president, not current president, but a Republican president, to sell North Korea their first reactor. That same guy.
Bush.
No, Donald Rumsfeld. So Rumsfeld owns the patent to the SARS cure, the bird influenza. He owns the patent on all that. And he's the person who sold the technology that allows North Korea to have a freaking nuclear weapon.
Huh.
Yeah.
When he left that committee they formed that they were supposed to be pursuing. He was supposed to be getting all the stable geniuses together who never been to war,
Right.
and they were going to direct the Iraq war, War 2, and everybody found out that these fools were just a bunch of think tank dudes, and none of them had any general. They were higher than generals. What Cheney had done. Because I don't think that George Bush the son really did anything. But what Cheney had done was install Rumsfeld as the director of defense. And so as the person in charge of Pentagon, he decided that he wanted a brain trust. I don't know what is it with DC people and this thing about the smartest people in the room. Why do people think that DC should be run by freaking academias versus real people who've been in real situations?
Well, you think
like
academics, we're not real people?
I don't think that the average academic person understands, which we saw, the reason for having bulletproof cars and vehicles for our troops.
You mean
versus
the people in charge of the World Health Organization?
Oh, I'm not talking about them. That's different. That's not DC.
They're all like
CDC is, for instance, but look at it. CDC is run by doctors, and the CDC did what? They went against Trump.
Yeah.
So when you have people who
You're talking about the politicians.
I'm talking about in the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
People like Rumsfeld getting into the Department of Defense.
Right.
They just hired the White House just now. This is not just Trump White House, but all White Houses have this issue. But except Trump has done to an extreme.
Well,
he just hired a 23-year-old.
Yeah,
he hired a 23-year-old yesterday.
I just saw him. He looks like a little baby.
Right, to run. And they had him there at 19.
Yeah.
And he replaced somebody who has been in the department of the
he looked
personnel.
like Doogie Howser.
Right. But he replaced a 70-year-old person. She had been there since Reagan.
Yes.
She
has all the history,
institutional knowledge.
Yes.
We have this thing. I think Americans, I really strongly believe that whole No Child Left Behind thing really effed up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The concept that you could teach people to a test versus having real life experience. We put test scores above real life experience, and I think we're seeing that effects through all these industries. And so you have a kid who was just a person who worked on a campaign. Now he's in charge of something that he hasn't even experienced.
Yeah,
and that's impossible.
I agree with you.
I don't mind him being an apprentice. He could apprentice under her for another 4 years or 3 years or whatever it is. I don't care if he wants to be he wants DC is his thing. Then go do it the way that everybody did it.
Well, fortunately, and this is good news. I mean, Martin, now Vice President Pence now is in charge of dealing with the coronavirus. Because Trump said...
He's going to pray it away.
Because, see, I want you to say that. That's what he did with the HIV crisis in Indiana as governor. He decided to pray to see if he could wish the evil spirits away. Huh?
Did you see the interview?
I saw part of it. What?
Where Sean Hannity, that was the first time I saw Sean Hannity. He danced. Sean, he actually
common sense finally prevailed.
Sean, he was like, well, there was a problem when you had the HIV, and he was like waiting for Pence to say something, and Pence just sat there, looked at him. So then he's like, the HIV thing in Indiana, it was needles. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah.
Like, help me out here, Pence. I'm sitting here flailing, and you're not saying anything. And then Pence, I don't know. What is Pence's problem? Is he just brain dead?
He's a robot.
It's really scary. He has a really scary pregnant pause.
Yeah.
It's really scary. And I hope he runs for president. I really hope Mike Pence runs for president.
Well, I don't know. Trump said he's got a certain talent for this. That's a direct quote Trump said about Pence.
Yeah, because he just sits there and takes it. and he doesn't flinch. He does have a talent for it.
In 2011, as a member of Congress, he voted to cut funding for Planned Parenthood. 2 years later, a Planned Parenthood clinic that had been the only HIV testing center in Scott County, Indiana, closed after public health spending cuts.
Yeah.
That's from Mr. Pence's.
Well, you understand that this is a long line. Again, I go back to George Bush the son reign, because we had, who was the idiot that was running Homeland Security? Good job. Remember the guy? The last job he had was running a horse farm. Remember that guy he installed
I can't remember
to get us out of Katrina? He had an idiot who last job was running horses. He had no experience in disaster recovery, no experience in, So to me, we're dealing with Trump, but we're dealing with some serious things that were put in place previous to Trump that kind of started getting pushed out with Obama. But even Obama, the challenge with Obama has been, again, he's an academia guy. He's that guy that thinks that we can sit down and have a chat, and you're gonna be able to handle this job based on the fact that you're a smart person. And so I'll get the qualified person who's has a good resume to run this department. But in reality, to me, career people, there are career not diplomats. What do we call them? Career. The people in government, their career, not
public servants.
Yes, public servants.
Yeah.
That should be public service and civic duty. That should be a prerequisite to having any job where it affects millions of Americans. If you have not served in public service, you are not qualified for a government job. I'm just sorry, especially not ahead of something, especially not something as serious as coronavirus or something as serious as Homeland Security, which takes care of the disaster recovery. I mean, these people had, and then he went, George Bush went to the general, and I thought he got a black guy, okay, great, but it's like he got a general who still wasn't experienced. He's experienced in moving packages and moving people and stuff. And he had some kind of a heart, he had a little feeling, but he's a logistics guy. I don't know that what happened in Puerto Rico, what happened in Katrina, what will happen again, what happened in Houston, it requires somebody who actually had, I believe, has had on-the-ground experience dealing with flood and disaster and hurricanes and tornadoes.
I think Pence.
I agree with you. It's like a child. We were talking about this yesterday. When a child is learning how to crawl or walk, if the parents are keep picking it up and going, oh my God, the child will never really
learn how to crawl and walk. Right. They learn that they do something and they get their parents' respect. They get that reaction, so they keep doing things, and that's a good example. I would say that's how I learned myself. Until probably 4, I learned to read early, like 3 or 4, but until 4 years old, until my mother started teaching me. And I had to get, I got popped for not getting the right answer or stuff, or I started to sweat. That's when I started to learn. 4 to 6, I started to learn. But 3, I was reading to impress people. I was reading to get that, oh, good job, pat on the back.
Unfortunately, Martin.
No good job, no pat on the back.
Iris, we haven't learned our lesson. Time flies.
He's kicking us out.
On this show.
He's kicking us out.
Johan just cut us out. completely. Apparently,
Okay.
he's signaling that we're running out of time somehow. I don't know what happened.
Out.
I thought I had more time, but we have. We are at coming to the last segment here, because he indicated that we were out of time, but apparently he fell asleep at the wheel. So here we are. Anyway. So,
Oh, my
I don't know,
goodness.
you want to take a pause, Johan?
No,
Well,
I don't like it. We keep
we're
going.
going to take a brief pause here en Usa la Media, la Mesa Redonda. Johan Bermúdez al tablero, les habla Fernando Mendez, Martin Pratt, Iris Violeta con nosotros. Regresamos en un momento.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Señoras y señores de USA la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda, The Round Table desde el corazón del barrio hispano, en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero, Iris Violeta desde Virginia por teléfono y Martin Pratt. Estamos hablando sobre la crisis de la salud causada por este virus que nos llegó de la China. Y ha causado estragos ya económicamente, ha causado problemas en cuanto a transporte. Muchas compañías de aviación están preocupadas ahorita, hoteles están sufriendo, el mercado, la bolsa está sufriendo la peor caída desde el 2008. So we're talking about this world crisis, and the World Health Organization is warning us that this virus could spread to every country. So fortunately, we have Mike Pence in charge of dealing with this problem right here.
Yeah.
Right, Martin?
Yeah.
So what happened?
I don't know.
No? Well, this is a guy who refused. He said that if they send him a regulation, a law, and they try to send him a bill for a needle exchange program, that he would veto it. And this is during the HIV crisis, because he would prefer to pray. He said he wanted to pray for the salvation of the people who were catching the virus. So if he's going to do this with the coronavirus,
Right.
we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
It is.
Yeah,
It is a mess. It is like a domino. It's like a domino. You put the dominoes on a road, and then the first one goes down, or the last one, and everything comes down. Like when you did the syringes in North Philly back in the 80s, it really helped spread the virus because children were playing around. Because they didn't really go and pick it up. Okay, there's a lot of things that has to do with that. I mean, if you do a good program, you do a good program, but don't you go do it and then do not have anybody overseeing where are they disposing them. And that's one of the main issues. I remember back in the 80s, even children were coming in infected, unknowingly, of course, picking up things, playing around in the park, in the patio. Because, I mean, A drug addict is a drug addict, and they need their fix. And,
right. And they would just drop the needles wherever. And so,
they need to be supervised. Yeah.
Yeah. My question, in New York, I didn't see, or even Newark, New Jersey, I went to high school during the 80s, and I don't remember seeing that many. We saw more crack vials than we did. Maybe it's because it's a black neighborhood. I don't know. But we didn't see like heroin. We didn't see needles. People kept talking about needles. And I didn't see needles on the ground. I saw a lot of crack vials, but I didn't see needles. And so I'm wondering, was there, like, if I saw a needle today, I would definitely. Fernando is showing us. Fernando is showing us a news report of injection sites. Oh, it's no longer opening in South Philly. Oh, it's now not opening in South Philly. They just announced they're not going to open it.
Good for these people.
Because in South Philly, first of all, South Philly, as we know, it's Italian and black.
This is what it says now. Plans to open what would have been the first supervised injection site in the U.S. at a plaza in South Philadelphia has been canceled one day after the facility and publicity was announced. Imagine that. That was power of the people, because there was a strong reaction immediately, because it made no sense. What you said is like the crisis is
right here.
North Philly.
The crisis is in North Philly. Why the hell would you?
You know what? There was in the council people.
Oh, yes,
this area didn't want it up here.
Right.
Now remember, this is an election. This is an election year, so the power of the people.
Well, also probably Biden and Bloomberg said, "Listen, we're trying to win the presidency. We don't need this distraction."
Bloomberg. I want to find out where his headquarters is. I'm going to volunteer for Mr. Bloomberg. I want a billionaire in power. He cannot be bought. He cannot be influenced. He is a...
No, he can. He will buy... He already bought a Congress, and he could probably buy the Senate.
Yeah.
And God knows how could we kick him out of office if we don't want him.
But he would be a benevolent dictator. That's what I believe.
Amen.
Let me ask you a question.
I
definitely have on a different note. I have, and maybe a lighter note because we've got a little time left. I'm curious what you both think based on what how you've observed things over the years. Harry and Meghan Markle.
Please.
Wait, just hold on a second. If they stayed, if they did not do this, and say his brother and their wife, the other couple, had decided to
William and
had decided to, they were going to go to Germany, right? Because Germany is the epicenter now become one of the epicenters for neo-Nazi, and seems like a reaction to alt-right stuff. Right. And they decided they wanted to go, give up their title, and go to Germany and try to breed pillars of democracy. Let's just say, not this was a selfless thing.
The family is from Germany,
right? And so what would happen if the other couple, the non-biracial couple, decided to leave the royal family and go volunteer, set up an organization to help Europe deal with the scourge of neo-Nazism? Yeah. Would anybody have raised an issue, or would they have increased their budget because they've taken on neo-Nazis? They need to be secure,
right?
Do you think?
I don't think it's about that.
I tell you one thing. I think that the key issue here is that these two didn't want anything. They wanted to let go of the royal title. They wanted to move away from the family. So if the other ones do that, but not moving away from the family, of course, they will have everything they need.
Listen, this is a very silly topic. Well, Thank you, Martin.
I think that honestly, I think that we're seeing. Well, hold on a second. I want to bring this out because I think it's a really interesting thing that's going to happen.
Next, you know what? Why don't we discuss the Kardashians?
No, we're not. Listen, we're seeing a change in how we view white saviors.
This is a serious program, and you bring me this silly topic of two people who wanted to break away from the royal family and still be royal because they wanted that Sussex title. They were going to use that to sort of create their own
I think it's because it's
brand.
brown. I think it's because his brownness is involved.
But then the mother said, forget it. You cannot use
Right, of
the
course
royal
not. Of
family
course,
that
yeah.
way.
Right.
And if you want out,
Go out. Yeah, be out.
Bye-bye.
Be really
Get out of
right,
here.
Right.
So I don't think you put it now. You're making it appear as though it was a matter because she's half black that they didn't want her as part of the royal family.
I think that factors into it.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it factors into it.
Wow. So you think that Princess Di also was killed because she was going to marry a Muslim?
I think that there was a number of factors, not just that. I think there was, in other words, I don't think she was killed purposely. I do not think she was. No, I don't think that she was killed purposely, but I do think that the fact
she was alienated because of that.
Right, and because of that, she was left very vulnerable. And so,
well, listen. We have the coronavirus trying to kill and decimate a lot of people.
And the corona means crown. So it's another kind of crown. Another type of virus.
It's another crown, okay? It's another crown.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I think as we see the browning of America, because it's really, we're at a crux. Like, we're 2020 now.
Yes.
So, in theory, in 5 years,
and that's why Trump has so much support, because there are enough people, millions of Americans, upset at the fact that this country is becoming browner.
Yes, and not just browner. Like, we're at a tipping point where brown will be the majority. Did you see the cover of Aldea?
Yeah,
32 million Americans.
I know.
32. And it's going to be at 40 in a minute. We'll be the majority.
Yeah, because according to Trump, we are breeders.
Now, see, it is very silly because you know how the genes work. There is 2 or 3 books. I think there's a statement of 3 books written by a scientist that studied the genes and the things, and he talks about the movement of the gene and the river. It's like a river. We all have them. We all have brown. We all have white. It's a silly thing. It's a silly thing. So, of course, I mean, for example, I might look very white, but guess what? My grandmother was listed in her birth certificate as black. How's that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And she doesn't look black, or she didn't look black, according to her pictures.
Well, that's the case for most of us in Latin America. You know, my son did the whole genetics. He found out we're like 13% Colombian Indian.
Wow.
So, I had no idea.
That's what's up.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And in my family, we have all the colors of the rainbow.
Wow.
You know, from blonde to black.
Right.
So, like, we don't know.
Right.
And Iris just made a good point. I mean, we all carry that.
Right.
Mix.
We all carry it, honey. We all carry it.
So,
yeah. So it's silly. It's a very silly.
So it is a silly topic, but there is at the bottom of that, there is a very serious.
Yeah, I think that we're unprepared for it. I think that brown and black people in this country specifically are very unprepared for being the majority.
And we are not prepared to take power, really.
Take power, also take the bruises that's going to come because people don't want that to happen.
Right.
And so I think the more that we have, like even in the conversation, it's calmed down since maybe September. But for a minute, black and brown people in 2019, every month were targets of people who wanted to kill us. Right. It started in 2018 from the guy in the Waffle House that came in the Waffle House and tried to shoot just black people. The guy at Walmart who just targeted Spanish people. The guy, I mean, we can go down the list. The black church. The immigrant center in California. Like, there are people in this country that physically want to kill us, and we have to be prepared. I'm not saying we have to have guns or like that, but I'm saying we at least have to have this conversation.
But they have all the guns. That's what Mr. Trump says, that he has
all the ruffians
on his side, all the rough people on his side, the police and the motorcycle people,
and you know what?
The military.
Well, let me tell you. You know what Maxine Waters said yesterday, right?
Yeah. What?
Did you see what she said?
What did she say?
She said, "I know gangsters in L.A. who are way smarter and have more sensitivity than Trump." So that was her way of saying, I got the Crips and the Bloods on my side, Trump.
So, anyway, look, we ran out of time again. This is the
Hells Angels
end
versus
of
the Crips and
our
Bloods.
show for the day. Muchas gracias por su sintonía. Se despide Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero, Martin Pratt, Iris Violeta estuvieron con nosotros. Hasta la próxima.
Sí.